Ready Check Radio.
What's up, Internet? One of these days during my stream, I'm just going to let this whole song play in the background, because if you think the intro's nice, the entire song is very nice as well. But it's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means it's time for the Relic Grind, Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast, brought to you by Ready Check Radio, RAIDEO. If you're watching on YouTube after the fact or listening on Spotify, head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com, give the Twitter follow, subscribe over on YouTube, and of course, follow on Twitch so that sometime you can come and hang out with us live. Chat's going to be giving us their favorites when we get to the category, so make sure you log in now onto Twitch. Here, chat, I'm going to give it to you one more time. These are the things that we're going to be talking about a little later in the show. Dave, first time here. Love the podcast on YouTube. Keep it up. Hope more people watch this. So do we, my friend. Just getting started. We've only been up and running for like a month and a half, 2 months now. So not counting the 2-week holiday break. So they will, if you build it, they will come, as they say. Today we're going to be talking about 541 and some other stuff, including Outriders PC special video that went out today. Joining me to talk over all of it, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. I'm getting jiggy with it. I'm feeling good. I can't wait to talk about shit today. Yeah.
Oh, my God. You are the whitest dude ever. Also on the line, Adam Lane, a.k.a. Kronos. What's up, sir?
Not much, man. I'm actually excited to talk about some potential Final Fantasy VII news.
Oh, yeah. You said that's coming a little later. A little later. Little later. See, look, the hosts are already teasing everything all over the place. Well, that's the show. I mean, you know what? Everything we're going to talk about. No, you don't know everything we're going to talk about.
See you guys.
But,
oh, okay.
I'm Mike Byrne, of course. Host extraordinaire in my own mind. So let's get started here. First, not a whole lot to talk about in Final Fantasy XIV news, but there are a few things out there. As we talked about last week, patch 5.41 did go live Tuesday of this week. The primary big content piece of that patch was the final phase of the Ishgardian Restoration. So now it is underway. You've got a little less than 2 weeks to start crafting galore to try and earn your server the frying pan statues. Now, I know that's what everybody's going for. Kronos, I'm going to start with you on this one because you kind of have the same mindset I do. You're not a huge crafter. You're not a huge gatherer. You've done a little here and there. I do certain things just to get the mounts and stuff and the minions. I know you're a huge mount chaser. Are you going to be doing any of the Ishgardian restoration?
I'm already done.
Wow.
So I think I'm going to have to, let me take a guess. You did exactly enough to finish off the number of writs you needed to buy the mount.
I already had the scripts ready to go with the patch drops. I went in there, I got my mount, I got a couple orchestrion rolls, and I bounced out.
Oh my God, it's priceless.
So
it's priceless.
Server be damned, you're not giving them any help. You got what you need.
My crafters are not geared enough to really help them. My gatherers are not terrible, but my crafters are not. I'll let those people handle it.
That's too funny.
I can't really judge because that's exactly what I did too. I didn't have the scripts ready, so I got to finish a few things just to get enough scripts, polish it off, just to grab the mount and the minion. But that's, yeah. Other than that, I really don't care. For those of you that are even worse at that stuff than Kronos and I, you can buy them on the auction house. They are able to be purchased there. Prices on some servers, I've seen them fluctuating as I was watching them today between 1 and 1.5 million-ish for the crab mount. I would expect that that's probably going to go down as we get a little further here, but then go up after that. So, yeah. grab it as early as you can, I would imagine, in the next day or two, and just get that over with. If you just have the gil and you don't care about the crafting. Tarkoth, how much have you participated in helping Ishgard?
0, but I gotta get my crafting up because there's a minion, so I gotta get it. So
Yep.
might as well get the mount 2 on there. So I got a little bit of work to do because I've slacked on crafting.
Okay, so wait. I was just gonna ask, what does a little bit of work entail? Like, do you have a max level crafter first?
That they're all 80.
They're all 80. Okay.
I gotta have them 80 for materials and
right.
in repairing. So that's done. But
exactly how far behind on gear/scripts are you to be able to buy the mount?
I got the base 80 gear. Woohoo! That's not gonna be enough.
No, that's not gonna do it.
No.
Did you get your sleep floor emote, Mike?
Did I get my what?
Your broom emote.
You're both talking at the same time. You might get my what?
The broom emote.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jelly donuts, by the way. So I'm just going to put that out there. Everybody's eating jelly donuts. That's another fun thing. What I wanted, where is this? Let me scroll down. Here we go. Do you ever want a fanny pack in Final Fantasy XIV, Kronos?
That glamour looks terrible. I'm sorry. I have 0 interest in that glamour.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm gonna open this up. I actually did not load this as B-roll, so I will throw this as a quick job right here to get this particular image. I wasn't planning on showing it, but I think we need to.
Yeah, I was already not a fan of the old baseball cap and stuff. I don't know, something about when I play games like this, I want to if I'm a healer, I want to wear the robes. If I'm a tank, I want to be in the heavy armor. Something about just looking like a normal dude walking down the street, or a homeless person with a fanny pack. I'm not into that. So.
Oh my lord!
There you go, chat. Here, I'll even resize it on the fly for you.
Yeah.
It's interesting for sure. So
if we were professional, I would have had that ready. I actually wasn't planning on saying anything about it, but then when I saw it in the notes, I was like, oh, I gotta say something about that. That is absolutely horrid. I don't know a single person that wants that, but if you wanted this, it's there.
You say that, but people are selling it for $3 billion.
Oh, I know.
On my server.
I know, it's absurd. It's absurd. Absurd. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we got Eden's Verse got the echo buff. That's, standard in this patch to give the second tier of the current raid that's available, the echo buff. So if you've been having a hard time with Eden's Verse Savage, then you got your echo buff. You get a little help going along there. I guess we should ask, by the way, Kronos, did you, in fact, finish 12, or is that going to be tomorrow?
Actually, it'll be this weekend. Should be.
This weekend.
We've seen Enrage, so it's more just cleaning some stuff up and not dying.
Just tightening up the deeps.
Yeah.
What about you,
I think we got
Tark? You had started E-Savage 11 late last week into this week. How'd it go?
We got that down. We are now on the door boss for 12, so that is definitely a healing check at the very beginning. So we're working hard.
Well, you were warned, to be fair. I mean, you were warned that it was a healing check.
Yep, we figured it out. We got it down.
That's it. Ishgardian Restoration. Yeah, there's a couple others, some new furnishings, some new the broom emote, as we mentioned earlier, the mount, the crab mount, and there's another minion in there as well. Some cosmetic items, new recipes, but that's it. I mean, we don't really expect a lot out of the .41 patch. It's usually just polishing some things off, and that's pretty much what it does here. Diadem changes were kind of interesting. I don't know who might still be messing in there, but if you are, there's new items that can be gathered. So yeah, all in all, there we go. You got about a week and a half. Get your Ishgardian Restoration stuff done. Get your mount, get your minion, and let's see how many servers end up with frying pans on them. Dave, you're absolutely right. Our peers, surely, they will absolutely buy the fanny pack. Absolutely buy the fanny pack. I've never wanted to boot up my fantasy-based MMO to go in and RP real life. Yes. That's what I've really been waiting for, was a game that let me do that. And now there's finally one there.
Now your life is complete and you can move on.
I wear a fanny pack. I don't know about you. Yeah, so do you guys remember back in 2019 when Yoshi P during an interview was asked about Final Fantasy XIV Classic servers? This was kind of like back when the WoW servers were /talked about getting ready to launch or had just launched. I don't remember the exact timing. But they asked him about that. And in that reference, they were meaning the version 1.0 of the game, not, a Realm Reborn 2.0 classic server. They were talking about a 1.0. For some reason, the video, like it was literally from 2019, but it's been like making the rounds again. A bunch of people seeing this, and Yoshi P at the time, just basically all he said was that would be an absolute nightmare. That would be an absolute nightmare. And I'm not exactly sure why it's making the rounds again. Maybe, just for the meme value, for the lols. But I got to ask. So first off, I played version 1.0. Kronos, you played 1.0, right?
I did
You did not. Oh, that's right. You didn't even play A Realm Reborn when it first came out either. It was a little bit later.
Like only a couple months.
Yeah. Kronos or Tarkoth, you played 1.0.
Yes, for 2 months. It was hot garbage.
I mean, I still got it right there.
I did not stay around long.
Oh my god.
I got my collector's edition box somewhere. I didn't set it up this week.
Yeah.
He's going to grab his.
I still have mine. It's right here. There it is. That's the collector's edition. Oh yeah, look at that.
Do I need to go get mine now? No, we'll just look at yours.
Sure.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It came with the software. It came with a little journal. Oh, the authenticator.
Yeah,
the authenticator.
The authenticator?
Yes, I still have my original authenticator. You could send away. This was cool. You could send away for your character's birth certificate.
Yes, that's
after you created your character and named it, you could send back in, and they would mail you. And I have it. I have a birth certificate for my character with Limsa Luminsa as the city of birth. So, because you had to pick, your starting city, you didn't pick the class, you picked a starting city. So, yeah. Anyway,
one sec,
go ahead.
though. When we finally get a fan fest I can actually go to, taking that journal from that collector's edition box, I'm gonna get signatures from developers for it. So that's what I'm gonna do with
That's gonna be your little autograph book.
Yep.
So you're like the little kid at Disney with the the autograph books.
Skipping. I'm gonna be
Yoshi
so giddy.
P, will you sign my 1.0 journal?
Will you sign my book?
That's actually not a bad idea. I would consider doing that with you if that ends up working out, and there's ever a fan fest in person again. Anyway, I have nostalgic memories about 1.0 to a certain extent. I was in the beta. I was one of the people screaming, not in an official forum because we didn't have them in English.
Nope.
But screaming, don't launch this. Don't launch this. I had played Final Fantasy XI from launch day on PS2 all the way until Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 came out. So heavily invested. Knew exactly what I wanted them to do, right? And I'm not going to get everything I want, but this was just like almost unplayable. It was barely a game. And we're like, don't launch it, don't launch it, don't launch it, don't do it. And they did anyway. We all know that story. But I do have nostalgic, happy nostalgic feelings about certain things. So I'm kind of torn on a classic server. I probably would never play it. I just don't have the time to invest in a game that I'm not that passionate about going back to, because more of my nostalgia, Tarkoth, and maybe you agree on this one, comes from the, hey, I was there when that happened. The Gubu wall and the GMs running around spawning monsters everywhere and the server going down for the final time, which I wasn't able to make that personally that night, but so I wasn't there for that one, but I know what was going on. I was there for that one in spirit. It wasn't, I don't look back and go, yeah, you know what? I liked what they were doing. They changed it into a Realm Reborn, but I liked what they were doing, and I might play that. No, I kind of lead towards the no side of this, having played it. What about you, though, Kronos, somebody who hasn't played it? Would you consider, like, maybe a month or two dabbling in that just to see what all that was about for us back then?
No, because I've only heard terrible things. So, like, so the thing with, like, Vanilla WoW, which is, like, the comparison I can think of, is, like, I feel like there are people that have fond memories that, like, oh, I miss when that was really hard.
Worked.
Oh, I want to go back and do the grindy stuff. Whereas, like, all the stuff I hear about 14 is just, like, oh, it was terrible. Like, it wasn't even, like, fun when it was, like, relevant kind of stuff. I think when I first started really getting into the lore of 14, I kind of just watched a YouTube video from, like, the 1.0 stuff to get kind of caught up on things that I didn't understand.
Right.
And that was kind of enough for me. I don't think I would boot up a 1.0 server and play it. And I don't have that nostalgia that y'all have.
Right.
To even, like, want to see it. So
yeah, Tark, I don't know if, like, a 1.0 does it, but what if I said, hey, let's give you a 1.15 or an after Yoshi P has started making some of the improvements, because it did get better. It didn't get great, but it did get better. What about a classic server in that era instead of truly at 1.0?
I might give it a try, considering I didn't actually play when Yoshi took the helm. I'd already quit and I was done with it by then. I would give the Yoshi P, you know, the lighter patches when he's introducing all the new stuff, updating UI, trying to get things fixed and balanced. I would like to experience it again to say, yeah, I've done that content, but I'm kind of also leaning on the side of Kronos, where, you know, if I really wanted the story and everything, I could watch the video on YouTube. So
I think we're in agreement then. Let's not do a classic. Let's just, how about we do a movie? Let's do a movie on, like, the main lore and stuff like that. Give me an hour, an hour long, hour and a half long. Please don't do it in the Final Fantasy Spirits format. Let's just keep it in the same 14 animation. Let's not do a Spirits Within. I don't think we need to go that.
I mean, Nail Van Darnus is a pretty cool character.
Absolutely.
Really. I mean, that gets, like, mentioned in Realm in ARR and stuff, but you don't really know a lot about that. Like, unless you go back and look, you don't really get a lot of lore from that character, which I think she's really cool. Well, you know.
I was just gonna say,
very complicated character.
I was just gonna say the most the most telling about that situation is when somebody says he, because you're like, you don't know, you weren't there in 1.0. And the scene you're talking about, it's not a he, it's a she. Earlier was a he. Now dead, now she. Absolutely a fantastic character.
Confusing.
It is. It is if you weren't there. Yeah, like it is if you weren't there in 1.0. So
because, like, I remember, just like short thing, like when I was doing with my raid group T9 for the first time, and I was like, who is this person? Like, who? And everybody else was excited because we had, like, you know, half our raid group had played 1.0,
right?
And, like, they were like, oh, this is really cool, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. No idea why this is relevant. But then I had to go back and look it back up. So
yeah, I don't think I could do it. I did do WoW Classic for, I think, like 2 months. You know, but I knew I wasn't going to get super invested in it anyway. I knew I was going to go back for a little shot in the arm of nostalgia and then move on. And that's exactly what happened. And I jumped into Shadowlands when it came out, and that was it. I don't have that feeling of, you know, I'd like to go see those zones the way they were. No, they were boring. The zones were boring. They were copy pasta all over the place.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Mike B's BFF report on Final Fantasy XIV. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, YouTube BFF report Mike B. It was a series that Mike B made for a while on his personal YouTube channel that he did game reviews, generally MMOs. And he did a Final Fantasy XIV one. And I think it's actually divided into 2 parts, if I remember right. It's been a while since I've watched it. I think one of them's like commentary, and then the second one is actually gameplay or something like that, to that effect. Go watch it. It's still one of the best things on YouTube. I queue it up every 2 years or so just to watch it. When he figures out that the terrain is copy pasted all over the place in the game. He starts it the best way. He goes, I'm going to warn you guys. You're probably going to figure out really quick that I maybe didn't like this game as much as some of you do. And when he fights the damn jellyfish on the ship, which is where the game originally started, you were on a boat that is traveling to Limsa. And he's like, evade. And he's like, this is the first monster I'm fighting in the game, and I can't hit it. Such a great video. Go check it out. BFF Report, Mike B. Yeah. No classics.
I have one thing to add.
Go for it.
If you really want, getting a lore perspective is good on YouTube. But if you want to really know the backstory of 1.0, I would also then check out the No Clip documentary. It's amazing.
It is. Well, it's the No Clip documentary is very good, but it doesn't really do a lot on the lore front.
No, that's not for the lore.
Yeah.
It's for to see what's behind the scenes.
Just to be clear, like if you weren't there and you don't know, then yeah, absolutely. Big thumbs up to the No Clip documentary. I'm sad to see them having gone through some of the changes related to COVID that happened to them. Those are some great documentaries. But go check out, good call. It's not going to get you caught up on lore, but it will get you caught up on exactly what happened and how humbling 1.0 to 2.0 was for the team. All right. Chat, get ready. It's time to talk about some favorites. And remember, if you were here pre-show, you already know this, but if not, there are no rules. If we're talking about favorite raid, you can pick a favorite raid boss. You don't have to pick the entire tier they were part of. If there's a favorite tier that you have, pick the favorite tier. That's fine, too. You're allowed. There are no rules here, except, I guess, if I say favorite dungeon, you have to pick a dungeon. You can't give me a guild hest, right? Whatever.
Sleeping turtles.
Yeah, I got something in my left eye, and I'm trying so hard not to look like I'm crying while I'm talking right now. All right, so Targoth, we'll start with you. The category first. I'm gonna pick them. I'm gonna shake things up for you, hosts. I'm gonna pick these in a different order than I have them listed here.
Okay, I'm ready. I got my list.
I'm gonna go with. Let's take. In fact, we'll trade. I'll give one, and then you guys can pick one, and whatever you want to go through. I'm gonna ask for your favorite playable race. Your favorite playable race. Tarkoth, we'll start with you.
I mean, it's got to be Lalafell, right? I mean, how can you not take this wonderful little character, you rip out the soul of the being, mold it out of a Popoto, and then, are you kidding me? No, the Lalafells are awful and evil. Like, they should be banned from the game. I'm going to go Aura.
Aura. Okay, seriously, why?
I just like the tallest. You get the most amount of detail off all your gear. You gotta have horns. Yes.
Isn't Elizin taller?
Nope.
Really?
Yep.
All right, now I gotta look this up.
Male Aura are the
now
tallest.
I gotta look this up. XIV
I
tallest.
can't confirm, so I don't know.
Cannot confirm.
FFXIV races Elizin. Oh, here we go. Wait. Male height. Oh, wait, that's Elizin. Oh, okay, let me go to Aura here. Actually, this is actually something I can look up. Holy shit, that's awesome. Okay, male height 6'7.9" to a maximum of 7'1.4". So we're looking to beat 7'1.4".
Damn, I didn't realize I was that tall in game.
Dude, Rogadins beat them.
No.
Yes. Elizins do not. Just shy, by about 3 inches. But according to PC Games, Rogadins go to 7'6.7" when for the males.
Okay then.
Looks like you need a race change.
Race change.
No, I'm not going to Rogadins.
He was like, yeah, I didn't care about height that much. I would have thought it was Elizin, actually. I'm surprised it was Rogadin myself, too. I would have gotten it wrong the same as you, Tark. I would have just picked a different race and still been wrong. In fact, yeah. I thought it was Ellison that was the tallest. Since I've already talked about it, I'll go with Ellison is my favorite, and that's just generally I like in World of Warcraft it's Blood Elves. I just like that, the elven appearance. Ironically, in Lord of the Rings Online and in the upcoming Lord of the Rings MMO, I hate playing elves. But everything else, I'm always like a dark elf or a wood elf or this elf or this. I don't know why. It's not like I'm particularly fond of elves. I just guess I like that very tall, pencil thin type magic user because I generally play magic users. Go ahead, Tark. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just already said Alice.
No, all good. Yeah, no. So I started as a Lalafell, and I didn't like the way that I couldn't see all the intricate details of the character. That's why I changed to All Raw.
That and everywhere you were walking around, you just smelled a lot of butts.
And I didn't have knees. I have no knees as a Lalafell. So
Kronos, favorite playable race?
Y'all are terrible. It's Lalafell. The correct answer is Lalafell. You had it right the first time.
No.
It's the only dude. I don't even have to glamour my pants. Okay, it's like real life. All right, I just have to wear a top and some boots, and I'm good.
Oh my god!
So for those of you that don't know, when he says it's like real life, Adam is a shorter guy. So he's a shorter guy. You don't even have to glamour my pants,
dude. Also,
it might be the best line of the episode.
Right? Yeah, no, when I'm tanking, people complain because they can't see me. It's awesome. Y'all are missing out, dude. My camera angles are sick. It's like the best rate. It's not even close. There are so many advantages to being a Lalafell. You just don't understand.
My camera angles are dope.
That's funny because in WoW I would play a gnome warrior and I would tank as that. I was like, this is the best. You're just a little tiny thing of fury. It's just not the same in 14. It's just
it's like when I have my ultimate weapons on, you just see the glow. You can't even see my character. You just see the weapon. That's it.
Oh, if you played 11, you would have been a Taru.
I would have 100% been a Taru. I think I was for like the 30 minutes that I played the game, actually.
All right, Kronos, you by far had the best answer out of the three. You get to pick the next category. Chat, favorite. I didn't see any favorite playable races go by, so make sure if you want to take part, we'll be sure to include them in the show. Go ahead there, Kronos.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just go with what's kind of my thing that I like the most, which is raiding. So my favorite raid in the game, I'm really I love the ultimate raids. It's a big reason why I still play the game a lot. I love doing them. They're really fulfilling. And my favorite one of those is UCOB. I really like the amped up Bahamut stuff where you get to kind of go through the one fight and you have to kind of play flawlessly pretty much for 20 minutes. When we first cleared that, it was really rewarding. T's close second, but something about that raid, and then something about Bahamut kind of being the first raid that I did. Well, the coils, not Bahamut himself, kind of made it even more important to me, I guess. So for me, I think that's kind of my easy answer.
Zargoth?
I'm going to go with a tier, and it's kind of a toss-up between second coil and final coil. Just the difficulty of the bosses, the amount of lore, final coil, the whole cutscene between Phoenix and Bahamut.
Great scene.
And finding out what happened at the end of the calamity, or during the calamity, was amazing. And it really got me into raiding. So I'm going to have to go final coil.
And if you guys haven't done the old coil stuff, go do it. There's a minion.
So
that's funny. I got to give it to, if I'm going to pick I'm going to give a tier, a specific tier, and it's Binding Coil of Bahamut, the original. I'm going to exclude tier 3. I'm going to exclude tier 3. Tier 3 sucked. But the rest of the tier, Caduceus or the snakes at the beginning, and then all the way up to Twintanya at the end, was just a great tier. It was super challenging because that was the end game. That was the end game content at the time when 2.0 launched. It was, we saw high-end raiding guilds take weeks to down all that stuff. It was nice. I love that one. But if I'm gonna stick with just a singular fight, I think I got to go with Sigmascape 4 and give it to Kefka. Not only do I love Kefka and Final Fantasy VI to begin with, but I thought that fight was very interesting with the toggled mechanics, the mismatch mechanics. Savage was pretty much the same thing, except there was some overlap in a lot of abilities that wouldn't overlap in the normal, particularly with the mana storing and the mana spending ability. So I got to give it to that specific fight if I got to pick just one raid fight. I like that one. And Minion. Minion. Kefka Minion is probably the one I always have out I have out the most, I think, lately. I've been sporting the Kefka Minion for a while. Tarkoth, you pick one.
Yes.
Chat, if you're not taking part in this show, you're doing it wrong.
Yes, you're doing it wrong. Give us your answers. Let's go with favorite trial. For me, I think I had to narrow it down to Ravana. Just the stances that he was in. Sometimes you couldn't do as much damage. Sometimes you could do a buttload of damage. Having to kill the ads were critical because if you didn't get him down, you were going to take more damage during his ultimate move. So I'm going to go with Ravana.
I'll go second here. I actually have two, one mechanically and one cinematically, if that makes any sense. I'm going to go favorite trial mechanically, probably Pool of Tribute, Susano fight. Loved some of the mechanics on the board there, especially loved if you were a tank, you got like your own separate little mini game, holding the sword up and everything, your little quick time event. I liked that fight mechanically with the constant back and forth. I really liked the idea of the knockback into a thin, safe zone that everybody was getting in. It was fun to do. When you had a group that did it right, it looked like a dance. And I really liked that kind of just flowed that way, even the Savage version of the fight too, or the ultimate version. Extreme, sorry, whatever. Cinematically, I'm going to give it to Minstrel's Ballad, Thornton's Reign. Ooh. I think visually that is a very fun fight to watch. It's kind of a boring fight to do on normal because there's a lot of sitting there. And it's just basically like manage the ads type stuff. Savage was a little bit better, but cinematically, I love the way that is executed, almost Knights of the Round style and everything that's going on there. It's a visual spectacle if it's not the most interesting fight to actually do. Kronos.
Yeah, mine's Thornton also.
Nice.
First off, it's Knights of the Round, so like that's Final Fantasy VII, and you're already scoring points there. Like when the Extreme came out, it was brutal. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people struggled with that fight at the beginning. And I enjoyed it a lot. Like we cleared it within like the first couple of days, and it was like one of the more rewarding extremes that I remember doing on release. And just like mechanically, just kind of the gauntlet of going through all the knights is really cool. And I'm really hoping it's the next ultimate. Like really hoping that they do something with that because I love that fight.
Oh, for the next really Unreal.
The next ultimate, no, like how like to the next ultimate is going to be story.
You want it? Okay. Mode stuff. Yeah, you want it back in there? Okay.
Yeah, because they did Alexander was the tier, the raid tier, right? So the next has to be like some combination of the primals. So I'm hoping it's like Thord and Nidhogg and not the Warring Triad, but it could be either or. It's hard to say.
Legend of the Dragon Song.
All right, I'm gonna call for. Okay, we did this one. We did this one. We did this one. I'm gonna call for favorite quest line. Kronos, to you.
Sure. This was actually kind of mentioned earlier. So Coil is my favorite quest line. I just like the lore that you get from Coil, like Tark said. Just like learning kind of what happened. Like I didn't play 1.0, right? So like I didn't really understand a lot of these things until I went into the raid and watched the cutscenes. And when I went through ARR, I was definitely one of those guys. I was like, this cutscene seems boring. Skip. Like my first time through. And when I got to Coil, I was like, maybe I should have been paying attention to some of this stuff. But I went back, I've like watched it several times now. I really enjoy a lot of the lore, and Coil was kind of what got me into the lore itself in general for the game. And then like the Phoenix cutscene that you mentioned was like, I remember the first time I watched that and how excited I was. People were mad because we had like a couple raid groups in our in our FC at the time, and we got to it first. we had seen the cutscene first, and so we were talking about it, and so some people got mad that we were talking about the cutscene before a lot of people had seen it.
Uh-oh.
I don't know, just the first time I saw that cutscene when you find out like what Phoenix is and how Bahamut kind of goes down.
Not gonna
really
lie,
cool.
there's some almost tear-jerking moments in those cutscenes too.
Louis
I really don't want to spoil anything, but it was 6 years ago at this point now. Yeah, the Louis Wall cutscenes with Alfino and Alice, they're tear-jerking. Go ahead, Tark.
I'm going to have to go with 5.0's main story quest. Shadowbringers was just magnificent. The struggles for each character is going to each zone. I have never been so invested in Alphino's storyline except for Shadowbringers. The main villain, Emmett Selk, was perfection. I mean, you cried. I cried for him. I actually shed a tear for Emmett Selk, the villain. It was amazing, and I don't know how they're going to top it.
I'm going to go, again, this is another one where I kind of picked two. One that was like nostalgic and not, it's not in the game anymore. And then one that is, you can still go experience and just for the lore, the story of it. So for the lore and story of it, one, I took the Heavensward main story quest, particularly the back third of it, towards the end of the expansion. Once you get Estinian Wormblood, has Nidhogg's eyes, and things are starting to go out of control, and he leaves and then comes back, and that I love that whole sequence. Estinian's one of my favorite characters, so I'm going to give it to that. That you can still go experience just by playing the main campaign. And by the way, it's fucking free.
Good shit.
Yeah, right? The one that you can't play anymore is a quest called That Old Black Mage. And this was from a crossover event with Final Fantasy XI. And this quest line featured Shantoto, our favorite Taru Black Mage. So gotta go with being the 11 guy that I am, and being a red mage, black mage, white mage in there. Red mage main and then black or white sub, depending on what I was doing. I gotta go with any quest that had brought Shantoto over. Dave in chat, the Dark Knight quest line, my favorite for sure. That's I hated playing Dark Knight, but I did like the Dark Knight's stories.
I mean, who doesn't like Fight Club?
Right. That was my pick, so it is your turn. No, Tarkoth.
No, it's your turn, right? Tark just picked that.
No, I picked that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Yeah. Tark picked the.
It's
trial.
Tark's turn.
You're right.
Favorite bad guy character? I kind of already spoiled it, so let's start with you, Mike.
And this is like in quotes, like they don't have to like be absolutely a bad guy, but you know, villainish, that type of thing. And I got to say that because my favorite bad guy is probably Nidhogg possessed Estinian, who isn't really a bad guy. He is a good guy possessed, being a bad guy. If I got to go true bad guy, we already talked about Nero. Nero is my favorite bad guy in the Final Fantasy XIV line. It's so funny. Like, I have my notes here for my favorites, which I did not include in the show notes so that the other hosts didn't know what I was going to say, and I had no idea what they're going to say to any question. But I like how there's like a lot of overlapping going on here. You could tell there's some things that 14 has done really, really well, that they're resonating with multiple audiences here. Go ahead, Tark.
It would be Emmett Silk, but the progression we've had with Nero, from just I don't care, I'm all about taking my rightful place ahead of Sid, being one of this ultimate bad guys here, and then seeing his kind of redemption arc, but seeing the attitude that you still can't quite trust him.
Yeah,
so you don't know.
It's like a
if he's gonna
redemption
turn
arc that
back.
you don't know if he's redeemed. Like, you're not sure. Like, is this a redemption arc, or am I just getting set up here? Is Sid just getting set up here?
He's just being positioned.
I love him.
To he's awesome.
Kronos?
Yeah, Nero was actually my second pick.
Yes.
But I'm going to take Tark's first answer, actually. Like, Emmett Silk, to me, was maybe one of the best Final Fantasy villains of the entire series, not just 14.
I agree.
You know, like when you can like make, like Tark said, when you can make someone like actually like feel bad for a villain, like they're like kind of like vulnerable, and that's like, you know, there's more to them than kind of meets the eye. Like, I don't know, it's really cool when they're that deep and they go into the lore and stuff, and it mattered a lot. And then, you know, by the time you get to the end of Shadowbringers, you realize like a lot of different things, and even past like to the current patches, you know, to like what 5.3 where it just ended. There's just a lot to that character,
Yeah.
and I think he's one of the best characters in the entire series.
Yeah, there's always,
saying
in writing, whether it's video games or movies or TV shows or whatever, there's always something interesting, mildly interesting to me about a bad guy or an antagonist that just wants to watch the world burn, right? Like Joker or Kefka or, you know, whatever.
Mhm.
I think infinitely more interesting are the bad guys or antagonists that, as you start to see their story put together, you're like, I don't know if they're necessarily wrong for trying to do things this way. It's just not the best outcome for everybody else if they do it this way. You know, those are, I think, infinitely more compelling antagonists, and Emmett definitely fits the bill there.
Yeah, villains that you gotta maybe see it from their point of view. It's all about their point of
Maybe
view.
you don't agree with it, but you're like, they're not crazy. They're not nuts. What they're doing might be a little over the top, but it's not just out of nowhere. This makes sense given their frame of reference. Yeah, and Emmett, right down that path there. Kronos, you got
Remember
3 to
us.
choose from.
I'll go favorite dungeon. I'll let Tark start.
I had to narrow it down to the twinning. The lore, figuring out how the Crystal Tower got there, and then seeing Alexander at the end. Well, not Alexander, but you know, it was Alexander basically rebuilt. It was an amazing dungeon, and I love the bosses in there. They all had little quirks to them. Especially that first one where it's like you have all these behemoths on the side, and if you hit them with an AoE, you get to deal with a behemoth now. So that was fun.
Song's also very, very good.
Absolutely.
Oh, music is top notch in the whole expansion.
Mike, you can go ahead. I'll go last.
All right. So I got a couple here for different reasons. This is not going to be a popular choice, I don't think. I think I'm going to get some head shakes on this one. I love the Sunken Temple of Karn, the original, not the hard version, the original. I had a feeling there were going to be disagreement here for a few different reasons. One, I like the idea of a puzzle inside a dungeon. And granted, this was not a very hard puzzle or anything, but I do like puzzle-like mechanics and things like that. Put the 2 stones on there. That wasn't all that hard, but and it went through the entire dungeon. It wasn't like solve this thing real quick so you can open the next door. There was something going through the entire dungeon. I am okay with and I enjoy insta-death mechanics, which the first boss has, not only in itself, but in the wasps that spawn as part of that fight if you don't take them out enough. Prism's in chat. I could stop calling about the car warranty. Yeah, follow us on Twitter and you'll understand that one. I like insta-death mechanics when they are 100% my own fault when I don't execute and I die. I hate insta-death mechanics where it's like, Tark, you're the healer. There's something you got to erase or cleanse off of me, and if you don't do it, I'm going to die. I don't like that. I think that's unfair to me because I can't do anything about it, with a particular class that can't erase or cleanse. And then if you happen to miss it or, God forbid, die and the other healer doesn't react in time and say an 8-man, I don't like stuff like that. I do like stuff where it's like, hey, you got Doom on you. Go touch the lit tile in the next 7 seconds or you're dead. I love going in that dungeon still to this day with people that have never run it. When it shows up as one of my randoms for leveling or anything, I am just in my glory. I'm like, please, somebody don't know the mechanic. Somebody don't know the mechanic. This is so exciting.
So Mike is the Joker.
I
Yeah.
I am.
I got it.
I also think
He's the troll.
I also think
He's
the
the
last
troll.
boss in there does have some interesting mechanics too, at an earlier leveling position in the game than you typically see in MMOs. So that's that one. For just setting, Hawk Manor. For just the setting, Hawk Manor, the visual aesthetic of the place, I got to give it to Hawk Manor. And I don't care which one you pick, if you want the original or the hard mode. Love both of their settings. But as far as just like what dungeon, if I had to run one dungeon in my expert roulette for the next 3 months until a patch comes out, what dungeon would I want it to be? I'd probably take Grand Cosmos. I love that dungeon. It's very beautiful. The music is fantastic. There's some interesting pools in there. And I especially love being able to yell at somebody at the last boss, why did you set the piano on fire? Like I think there's something awesome about being in an MMO yelling at somebody who just burnt the piano early. So yeah, I'd give it to Grand Cosmos. Go ahead, Kronos.
Yeah, for me, it's Anti-Tower. I think that was like one of the
That
first
almost
dungeons
made
that I
my
did
list,
where
yeah.
I felt like the setting was just so cool. And then they throw like little tidbits of nostalgia in there too, like you have the Calcabrina boss and stuff like that. It's really just a setting. It has nothing really to do with the lore behind it or anything like that. I mean, although that's cool too. It's just like how you kind of go from area to area. The boss fights were fun and it felt nostalgic. It's kind of like I like that's what I like out of a dungeon, at least when I'm only doing it like once or twice, right? Which is kind of what I do in this game. But that's one that I could run and probably it would take a long time to get bored of that. So
next up, favorite good guy character. And again, they don't have to be true good, and chaotic good is fine by us. Favorite good guy character. This one's easy for me, so I'll go first. It's Lise. I love Lise. I think she's a phenomenal character. I love the way that she came back into this one, into this expansion, and particularly in some recent quests. And then I do like that you don't actually know she's Lise for a while, because she goes by a different name. Again, if you need to, spoiler alert, I guess, if you haven't gone through the base game and basically Heaven's Word, she's Yida for the first half of your play experience. So I got to go with Lise. I love Lise. Go ahead, Tark.
She's pretty to look at, but no, she's just that's not any good character development.
I disagree.
Thancred.
Thancred's
From
too all over the
1.0
place. Thancred's writing
from
is so
1.0
inconsistent.
From 1.0, the womanizing bard, to the rogue turned ninja, losing his
To the guy with
ability
mommy
to handle
issues.
and then the reluctant daddy in Shadowbringers. Come on, Thancred.
Nah, Thancred's writing is so all over the place for me. Like he's one character in every single expansion. He's somebody totally different. There is no overarching Thancred through there. And this one actually, if I'm honest, Thancred kind of creeped me out in this expansion, and his relationship with Reen. Yeah, his relationship with Reen, particularly prior to her, figuring out who she was and talking to Menphilia, it was very weird. Like I didn't know if I was watching, somebody be a reluctant daddy or somebody hoping that he got he got his girlfriend back.
No,
it was creepy.
See, that all goes back to 1.0 and her dad dying in that parade. It's just, it all ties in together. It's just, he's amazing.
He's gross. Go ahead, Kronos.
He's not gross.
This one was kind of tough for me because I think like when I look at like the Scions and stuff, I'm a really big Urianger J fan. I kind of like those type of characters, like the smart guy that kind of knows everything. Yeah. So I always think he's really cool, but I really want to just pick Ardbert. I really like Ardbert a lot as a character.
Yeah.
And I know he was really only a character for like an expansion and like one patch in Heaven's Word.
Right, but he's also a throwback to 1.0 too. Yeah, I mean, he's the original box art. if I'm not mistaken on this thing, he's the original box art, isn't he? Hold
The
on.
Derplander, right?
This up.
Derplander, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you basically got your Ardbert there. That is, he just got some upgrades through the years. That was it.
I remember the original commercials.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Just like the development he goes through in Shadowbringers, even though he's already dead. But like, it's just, I don't know. It's really tragic. I like a lot of tragic stories. Like Final Fantasy X, that kind of stuff. So, and Ardbert gives me a lot of those vibes, and it's just like, by the end, they kind of, like we talked about last time, the whole scene with like Seto and stuff.
Yeah.
It gets me every time. So
yeah, I can see that one.
That's kind of surprising. You like all the tragic stories. Is that why you lean towards Lalafell and the tragedy that is them and their species and how they're just all evil little potatoes?
Just, dude, by the time this game's done, everyone's going to be a Lalafell. It's going to be the supreme race. Don't worry, dude. Everybody's hating on the potatoes now, and they think they're like funny when you come up and pet them, but wait till they bite you back, dude.
Favorite class, Tarkov.
This is where I'm going to back up Kronos here, okay? Now, when we're talking classes, are we talking about before you get the job change, or are we talking about real classes?
Pick whatever you want.
We're talking about jobs, and then jobs is totally different than the classes because you don't need that crystal to turn into the job. And it's just the.
This, by the way, is not one of the questions Kronos asked.
I prefer White Mage. I've always been a big healer. I'm kind of stuck on Scholar because I've been playing at Heaven's Ward. But I love the pure healing that is White Mage.
I
probably expect the same thing out of you, Kronos.
Yeah, White Mage is the job I've played the most. The thing is like I like almost every job in this game. I have fun playing them in some form, but White Mage it's like my most hours logged. I'm just a big fan of healers in general, and it's a classic job, which always kind of gets me. Like I like when they just try to introduce like just the straight up classic jobs. So yeah, it's definitely White Mage.
Red Mage. I don't think anybody that's watched me at all, whether it was streaming Final Fantasy or hosting XIV Reborn or what, I don't think you're surprised by that answer at all. It was very close.
No shot.
I could flip a coin for Red Mage or Black Mage, but Red Mage, due to artifact armor, edges it out.
If Blue Mage was an actual job,
yeah,
I'd probably pick Blue Mage. I really like Blue Mage, but it's just not, you know.
All right, let's move on and talk about some other Square Enix news. Something that Kronos, you couldn't wait to get to. You had mentioned it at the top of the show. We've got a bunch of Square Enix trademarks that just recently got approved. We've talked about one or two over the past couple of shows. Here's a whole batch, basically all in the Final Fantasy VII universe. Trademarks for Ever Crisis, The First Soldier, and Shinra Electric Power Company's logo, that actual logo. So a lot of stuff there kind of pointing at Sephiroth, kind of pointing at a Crisis Core, maybe continuation of that storyline or a prequel to that storyline. So there's a lot of stuff there. Kronos, you couldn't wait to get to this category. I'll let you go first.
I think one of those is the name of the part 2, a remake. It's hard to say which one it is.
If I had to guess, I would go with The First Soldier.
Right, yeah. I think that's strong too, because they're probably going to go more into Sephiroth, right? I think it's in reference to Sephiroth, right?
Yeah,
more likely.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a good guess, but I think it could also be Ever Crisis, depending on how big of a role Zach's going to play too. So it's hard for me. It's hard to say, but Ever Crisis could just be. I mean, it could be a lot of things. It could end up being a mobile game for all I know.
True.
But like, it could also just be a standalone game for Zach, and that's kind of how they go with that. And then First Soldier ends up being remake. But I really think one of these is going to be because I don't think the title of 7 Remake Part 2 is going to be 7 Remake Part 2. It's going to have a name. I think that's why they were really careful about not calling the first one Part 1 and just have the title Remake, and the way they did the story, which makes me think that this one's going to kind of go in its own direction. It's going to have its own title.
I kind of agree with you on the mobile front, particularly for Ever Crisis, because before Crisis was a mobile game. Crisis Core was for the PSP, I think.
Yep.
So I kind of think like if they're going to continue that or play with that segment of time, it's probably going to be in a mobile fashion or a handheld fashion. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be all that sad to see you know, a Sephiroth singular title a la Dirge of Cerberus style Tarkov. I don't think that's in the works. I think there are so many other things that Square's working on right now. But I don't mean the gameplay of Dirge of Cerberus. I'm talking about a one-off title about one character. Jeez. Yeah, just a Sephiroth game, like his lore heading into why he became and what he becomes. I think that could be interesting. I think it's far-fetched. I probably am leaning more with you, Kronos, that it's First Soldier is probably the sub-name for Remake 2. What do you think, Tark?
So I hadn't thought about that being the title for the main game, but yeah, First Soldier, that sounds like a good first name. But when I first heard it, and then it's like, okay, this is about Sephiroth. What can they do with that? So my first thought was either a manga or an anime, a la like what they did with 15 and the boy band.
Right.
As far as Ever Crisis, it's either going to be a continuation of Before Crisis and Crisis Core, so that we get some more background on Zack, or maybe like HD remasters of both games and packaged together.
Why do you think they got the trademark for the logo? Like, I'm surprised that isn't trademarked already.
Me too. I was surprised it wasn't already trademarked.
I could have just been a retrademark.
Yeah, but the documentation for retrademarks shows that it's just a refiling.
Okay.
For those. So that one's weird to me.
That is a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep you posted, just like on all the other ones. Project Athia, which I know we're all very excited and have questions about, got a release date. Not an exact date. But during a little reveal video, we saw that for Sony, Project Athia is coming in 2022. And honestly, I'm going to say I'm a little surprised, Kronos, that it's that early. Where we saw the Final Fantasy XVI stuff, and we said, that game's further along in development than people think it is. I think we're going to see that sooner than a lot of people think we are. When I saw Athia, I thought, that game has just really started development. That game is probably a lot further off than people think it is. And I know there were some people that, they were already showing it going into the PS5 stuff. So we're going to see that in the first year of the PS5's life. And I was like, nah. I'm honestly surprised it isn't a 2023 or even potentially a 2024, depending on what type of game it ends up being. Now that we know, kind of where they imagine it, I would have said 2023. So 2022 is a little early, but that also means we won't see the Xbox version until 2024, since it's locked up for a 2-year exclusivity deal with Sony, Kronos.
Yeah, I come with you. I thought we'd at least get because I mean the name of the game can't be just Project Athia.
No.
I thought we'd at least get a name before we even got a year. So I was kind of shocked by that part of it, because we just have the one teaser, right? Unless I'm crazy.
Yeah, that was it.
So I don't even really it looks cool. I'm excited about it. It's a Square game, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of us thought it was Final Fantasy XVI until Final Fantasy XVI was revealed. Remember, we talked about on this show how internally, Tark, they even let people believe that it was Final Fantasy XVI, surprising even some staff when the 16 stuff was revealed. So is this earlier than you thought, too, or is this kind of right where you thought maybe you'd see this game?
Yeah, the whole project part. I mean, if you don't have the title and you're not ready to reveal the title, the fact that it's just a year away, it's like, wow, okay. I mean, if it's a year away, you should probably have a title for it. Even Final Fantasy 16 has its title.
Yeah, because to be specific, January 2022 is the time range we're looking at in this ad or in this reveal too. It's not the, holiday 2022. So for all intents and purposes, this is a year away. We'll see.
Yeah, so it's a little bit befuddling.
Yeah.
Makes me want to reorganize the other dates for their other titles, but I haven't really thought about that too much. We'll see.
Speaking of Xbox, Not only will they not be getting Athia until 2024, but we're still waiting for all the Final Fantasy titles that they said back in 2019 were coming to Game Pass. We're still waiting for those. And according to Kotaku, Microsoft did have something to say about it. Basically, Tark, all they said was, they coming.
We're working on it.
Don't worry, they coming. They teased
Coming
when
soon.
they put the initial couple up there, like Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy VIII Remaster, and I think like one or two others. They said, hey, we saw big pictures of all the games that were coming to Game Pass and all the other Final Fantasies that were slated. And we saw nothing for the rest of 2019, nothing for 2020 at all. Now we're January 2021, and the answer is, don't worry, they coming, Tark. Don't worry.
Coming soon, TM.
Are they coming this year?
Are
they coming?
They have all the 13. They have all the 13s in there and said coming this holiday, and that was 2019. Yeah. And here we are now, 2021.
But don't worry,
not there, so.
They're coming.
They're coming. They're coming.
Kronos, are you an Xbox gamer?
No, are you not since the 360? To be honest,
Are you PC and PS5?
Yeah, I'm pretty
or are
much
you just
all
PC?
All in on PC.
All in on PC. And then Tark, you're a PS4, PS5 baby. Are you also an Xbox
PS5.
baby?
I'm not an Xbox. I would play PC, and if you've followed me on my streams, hashtag Tark needs a new PC. So let's get that going. I can play PC games.
Other titles, let's talk about Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider turns 25 this year, something we mentioned on Gaming Gumbo. That's our weekly gaming wrap-up show that we do every Saturday here on Ready Check Radio at 7 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. Whole other hosts, and it's all gaming. But we talked about anniversaries for a lot of franchises, and if you really want to feel old, go check out last Saturday's episode, because some of these franchises that we were talking about were 35 years old, 30 years old, 25 years old, one of them being Tomb Raider. Now, that's 25 years old this year. We don't have anything official for it, though, at least not yet. I will tell you that Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the current free game on the PlayStation Plus network this month. So if you haven't grabbed it, definitely do. That one is 100% worth playing. Absolutely great game. But I'm surprised we haven't seen anything as far as an anniversary announcement out of this, Kronos.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a game this year, because we would have probably heard about it, but I think you're going to get some kind of announcement. I'd be surprised if they didn't. Like, they're got to be working on something.
You would think so, right, Tark?
Yeah, it's been 3 years since Rise. Was that 2018? Or I'm not Rise. I'm sorry, Shadow. Rise was 2015. So yeah, it's been 3 years.
That was
now.
2018. Yeah, you're right.
So it's been 3 years. We got to be getting something. It may not be a new game, but maybe an HD remaster of some of the old games, or next gen versions of all the 3 modern games. That would be kind of cool. I'd be down for that. But there's got to be something. It's been too long since the last game.
And yeah, we know Square Enix is only the publisher of this one, but we talk about the Avengers too. So if you are looking for something a little neat on the Tomb Raider front, I think this might fit the bill for you. Tomb Raider Remake, Lost Tomb Raider Remake, has been dug up. Yes, an unfinished Tomb Raider installment has actually been unearthed. So this is according to Screen Rant. For fans of Tomb Raider who wish to hark back to those simpler times, there's exciting news. A Lost Tomb Raider remake has been unearthed and shared online. Originally titled Tomb Raider 10th Anniversary Edition, the game was canceled before it was completed. It then almost became an Indiana Jones title. Ironic, we'll be talking about Indiana Jones this Saturday on Gaming Gumbo. Although this went on to be scrapped too. Instead, Crystal Dynamics took over the franchise and core design closed down, apparently losing all the Tomb Raider work in the process. However, the lost assets of the game have now been rediscovered and shared by Internet Archive. So if you want to play a new Tomb Raider developed by the original developers of Tomb Raider, there you go. That shit is neat, Kronos. I love when stuff like this happens.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, how old is it?
Well, it was
I don't think I
supposed to be
saw,
the
like
10th anniversary, so 15 years.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, you know, if you look back at like when they remastered 8, like we weren't really good at like keeping track of things back then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like there are things that get lost, and so it's cool to see like stuff like that get found.
That's true.
So I
You
think this is really
constantly
cool.
see we can't do that because we don't have the original source code. That's like
I remember,
Silent
like,
Hill is
yeah,
one
yeah.
that we've heard recently about. You know, we couldn't really remember the remake that was just, or the remaster that was just awful. It's like, well, a lot of the source code wasn't there. We couldn't just do it.
I remember going to like one of the Distant Worlds concerts, and they had mentioned that they had just started playing like a Final Fantasy VIII song, and they couldn't play it before because they lost the sheet music.
Oh wow.
Like crazy stuff like that.
Targoth, you gonna give this one a whirl? Are you Tomb Raider fan enough to boot it up and play it?
I'm a Tomb Raider fan, but it's not like there's not even any monsters in it. It's just the climbing stuff. So nah, not really.
Not even gonna go check it out.
I don't have enough time. There's too many games.
Boy, that's very, very true. Last up before we go to Love It or Leave It, Outriders released a video today. Tark, this one doesn't really apply to your version, sir. This one was all geared towards PC, and it gives a very, very detailed rundown of a bunch of PC-specific features. So if you want to know about what they're basically, if you bought a computer in the last 5 or 6 years, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Might not be able to run it in 4K, but you'll definitely be able to get at least 720. And they give examples of 720 through 1920 by 1080, all the way up to 4K resolution. Yes, ultra wide's going to be supported. Yes, you will be able to customize the HUD. You want some things on and not just where they are, but turn them off and on. If you like see nothing on your screen, you could do that. If you want a map and this and this and this and this, you can do that. We'll have controller support. Natively, it'll do PS controllers, Xbox controllers, and even the Steam controller can be mapped in the user interface. There was a lot in this video. Playing with field of vision. Jesus, Mike. The field of vision, the ultra wide support. And I got to tell you, the more I see, and this was just a stupid video just saying, hey, here's a bunch of PC features that we offer. The more I see, Kronos, you're nodding, the more I want to play this damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game I wasn't even going to buy before I was on this show. Now I'm going to probably buy it. So, I watched this. I'm good to go. I was pretty sure before I even watched the video that my computer was fine.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to play it in 4K or anything either, but I'll be able to run it just perfectly fine. And all the customizations is kind of cool. I'm really just excited to play the demo at this point.
Yep, February 25th. Yeah. February 25th. What day of the week is that, actually? We didn't look at that on last show. Let me see here. February. That is a Thursday.
Nice.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Maybe we'll talk to Faye and swap my Friday.
Sorry, Faye.
Swap my Friday that week with her Thursday, and we'll do the show. And then if you guys are game, we'll hop into game after the show. But yes, so if you are looking for details on the PC version, it's about 7 minutes long. The video literally splashed a bit of everything, from system requirements to controller configuration to HUD management, all kinds of stuff in here. Definitely check it out. Just went up today. We'll be looking forward to it. All right, let's slide over and do Love It or Leave It. This is the segment that we wrap the show up with every week, where I give you a topic from Square Enix. Could be something they've done in a game, could be a feature, could be a business decision they've made, could literally be anything in the world of Square Enix. And I ask you, not just Tarkoth and Kronos, but you watching, put it in the comments below on YouTube or below the video on ReadyCheckRadio.com, whether you love this feature, this item I've brought to you, and you want more of it, or you're going to leave it and just say, you know what, we don't need any more of that. Today, I'm going to go back into Final Fantasy XIV to hit a particular feature that I want to know your opinion on, gentlemen. Tarkoth, we'll start with you, my friend. The Eternal Bonding Ceremony, or if you want to be a little more vague and not specific to 14, marriage in MMOs in general, like actual character marriage.
I'm probably going to be a little cynical on this considering my recent events with myself, but where's the ritual of eternal separation and we split everything down the middle and divide up our assets?
I can out have everything else.
Well, that's the show this week. Kronos, where can everybody find you?
As you can say,
okay.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
You know, you
setting
find something in the game that
setting
you have
aside
a
that
connection
stuff.
with setting aside that stuff. That's a cool thing to have in the game. You find, relationships are built in this game. Whether you approve that or not is beside the point. It happens. So having something to say, hey, you know what? You and I are friends. You want to get some cool loot together? Let's do this. Let's get married. I think it's kind of cool. I'm going to leave it, but it's cool. But I'm going to leave it. It doesn't need to be in the game, but it's cool.
Kronos.
And I'm mixed.
I'm gonna leave it as well, but I understand like the people that want that. Like it's one of those things where it's like I'm not mad that it's in the game. It probably it's fine that it's there, and the people that want to do it, the people that are really into RPing and doing that kind of stuff too, like it has its place. It's just not for me. You do get a mount, but it costs money, so I'm good.
Have you guys been to a wedding in 14?
I have. I've been to a couple actually.
Been to 3.
Yeah, I've been to a couple as well.
Not in a while though. It's been a long time.
Chrono, do you have the mount?
No, I don't.
It costs money. He's not going to do it.
I want to split getting married, and we'll
cash mounts do not count. Okay, they do not count.
I need the minion. I need the second minion for the marriage.
So that's to leave it, huh?
Yeah.
Lazy but talented in chat just wants an outside wedding option in Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah, that's right, because they're all indoors. I didn't even think about that. I'm going to leave it to. This one causes real life problems for me most of the time. I married Q in Rift, and the only reason Q and I got married in Rift was because we wanted the swag that went with it. We both played. This is back in the Game Breaker days. I don't even know if Q's in chat, but she's still my in-game wife. We had 2 female characters. We're a beautiful lesbian couple. We have a tremendous life together in Rift. I don't know what those characters are doing anymore. They may just be sitting there talking to each other because we haven't played in years. But I do remember like going upstairs and my wife, what did you guys do? You married Q in Rift and you still haven't married me in Final Fantasy? So it just causes real life. I'm going to leave it. No, on a serious note, I love it. I actually will say that I love it. I like role-playing options like that. I don't role-play. I don't do RP or anything like that. I've been to some weddings. They're fun. I do enjoy that those things are there, and I'm all for that. And when you get the bonuses, that's the only thing I actually think I don't like about that is wait a minute, I gotta tie my character to another character in this game because I want the experience ring, or the mount, or this is dumb.
Free teleport,
right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool if they could teleport to each other.
I do think
cool.
Though, Tark, you're right. Kronos, if you get married in game and things don't work well, I think you should lose half of your mounts.
All the mounts?
Just half of them. Half of them. You get to keep.
We're getting a prenup.
Yeah. Prenup all the way because I ain't losing half of my minions. So
prenup
on a lot of mounts.
It's
a lot of mounts, dude.
Fantasy mounts. Please, when you get married in real life, just make a prenup that all it says is that. Like, there's nothing else on it. You don't care what she takes.
I think if I do that, I'll never ever get married. I don't think.
You got to find the right person for that one. All right, let us know what you.
She's gotta love you.
Baby, you gotta love me for me, not my 14 mounts. Let's that wraps it up for today. Make sure you put in the comments below what you think about the love it or leave it weddings in MMOs, and of course, make sure you go through all of your favorites. Just like we did, let us know in the comments below, and maybe they'll end up on next week's show. Now, chat, hang on. Right after the show, we'll go dark for about 30 seconds after post-show. We'll be coming back online with tonight's streamer. Faye, how are you?
Oh, hey, I'm
Welcome
here.
back. We've had people asking
Thank
about you.
you.
You had a couple weeks off for the holidays while you got
I
your
did.
rigs all ready to do your things. What are you playing today?
Tonight we are going with something that I feel is apropos for the mood lately and a Christmas gift, actually.
Oh, nice.
It has been on my mental list for a while, but not in the physical backlog long. We are starting the Outer Worlds, and I think we're going to go story mode so we can really enjoy the flavor of
That
it.
is
So there's a particular tweet I saw this week
fantastic
that
game.
inspired this.
That is a fantastic game. You are gonna love it. Do you like Borderlands, Fallout? You know
I love. Borderlands is my favorite game. Yeah, hands down.
Yeah, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one.
I'm excited.
Particularly, it's particularly good. I enjoy it. I haven't played the DLC yet.
I've been very excited.
I haven't played the DLC.
I was excited when I saw the previews for it, and then it was just one of those that money never came around for that one in particular kind of deal. And then the Stipendium did that song about it, and I have been just obsessed ever since and dying to play. So I'm very, very excited to get this started with you guys tonight.
Outer Worlds coming up in just a few minutes. Oh, what are you playing on?
We are playing on PS4 through remote play.
Cool. All right, so we'll be doing
so
some
I think it's
console
saving
tonight.
us because the PS4 is actually doing the bulk of the load on the game for us.
There you go. All right, so we'll be checking out Outer Worlds right after this. Of course, we'll be back next week with the Relic Grind Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget, on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have Snowbound. That's our Blizzard/World of Warcraft podcast. And then on Saturdays at 7 p.m., we have Gaming Gumbo, our general weekly gaming wrap-up show. And, of course, you can bet this Saturday we'll be talking about Lucasfilms, Star Wars, EA, Indiana Jones, and so much more. Until then, Kronos, where can everybody find you, my friend?
Yeah, same as always on Twitter. Hopefully by this weekend I'll have another mount. I'll be sure to post on there to update everybody. But yeah, Twitter.
Tarkoth.
I want half of your mounts. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoth Gaming. We got rating tonight. Gonna be doing 12 Savage. Awesome.
Fantastic. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally there on Twitter at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, so that you know exactly when we're going live, what streamers are going live, and what we're doing. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you out on the servers. Later.